Hey, it's Brandy again with Smoky Mountain Stamping, and I am glad to be here. Celebration is almost over. Probably like, oh shoot, she's gonna stop talking about that. But I just wanted to get on here really quickly and show you one last project that you can make with the items you can get for free from Celebration. So it goes through midnight tonight. And still lots of great things out there to get, so don't forget about that. And let me show you what we're going to make. We are going to make this cute little bag. Now, it's going to be different paper. So this is paper from the Field and Flower, and I've talked about this before. I don't always like the paper that's in, or all of the paper that's in our DSP packs, and so I save those pieces that I don't like to be my practice dummies, basically, for my bags and boxes and things like that, so that if I mess it up, I've not messed up a good piece of DSP that I really love. I've just messed up a piece that I'm not super crazy about. So I just wanted to share how to make this little bag, and I'll show you some things that will fit in here. So let's get started. I'm going to flip you down, so be patient with me while I do that, and hopefully it won't be incredibly painful. And I forgot to, gotta flip my phone. So there we go. Here we go. Let's get it over here on the work surface. So much system at some point, I hope. All right, here we go. Let me know that you're watching. I can see comments, hopefully. It looks like I can. So now, let me show you the paper that I'm going to use. So let me show you the box again. So this is the box. Let me see if I can back up just a tad for you. It is about 10 inches tall, but because of this little pinched piece, you've got about 8 inches here, and then you've got about 2 7/8 inches all the way around. So you can see it's a square bottom. Okay, now I'll tell you, I was not a fan of this paper, so that's why I picked this paper to be my sample, to make sure I had the measurements right. I actually had another piece that I scored incorrectly, so I was glad that I practiced this a couple times before I decided to hop on here and show you. Hey Brenda, thanks for watching. Okay, so for this project you need a piece of 12 by 12 designer series paper, and I'm going to use this piece. I think this is my favorite piece out of the Paper Blooms DSP that we have. DSP just means designer series paper. That's our Stampin' Up! Jargon. And so you need we're going to use the full piece, so you don't have to cut anything down. And I am going to bring in my scoreboard because I just like using this for boxes and bags. I'm going to try to back out here just a little bit more so you can see it a little bit bigger. Okay, so the really great thing about this, now you can totally score this on your paper trimmer. But I like doing this when I'm doing bags and boxes, just because I can do all my scoring at one time. And so I'm just going to put this here for a second. These are your scoring instructions. So you're going to score this piece. Now this paper is great because there's no directionality to it, so I don't really have to worry about that. If I were using a piece of paper that had some direction to it, then I would make sure that when I do these score lines here, that I know it's the length of the box. Okay, so I'm going to score this way. Something's under my, making me wobble a little bit. Let me see here. Let's see if that, yeah, that's better. Okay, so I'm going to move these away, and I will add these measurements to the post when I'm done, so you can have them. But I'm going to score at 2 7/8. And also, just as a little tip, so I'm using, this is a take your pick tool. and I'm using the stylus end. So there's an end that's small, and there's an end that's bigger. When you're using lighter weight paper, you want to use the bigger end because this is a little more sharp and it will cut through your designer series paper. So this is for cardstock. The smaller end is for cardstock. Hey, Ginger. And the bigger end is for your designer series paper or lighter weight papers. Not necessarily that. So I've scored at 2 7/8, and now I'm going to go to 5 3/4, and then 8 5/8, and then 11 1/2. And so you see how nice it was just to be able to keep my paper here and then just score. And now I'm going to rotate one time, doesn't matter which direction. And so this is going to be for the score line here and the score line here. And we're going to score it at 2 inches and 10 inches. And that's all I need for my scoring. So I'm going to put this away. Okay, don't need my scoring tool. And now I'm just going to go through on all my fold lines and burnish. And that just means to get, a really good fold on them. So while I'm doing this, just to remind you that for every $50 you spend, you get 1 item free. And this pack of paper is one of the things that you could get for free. So that's why I wanted to show you all that you could do. Boxes and bags are so much fun to make. I love doing it. All right, so I got that. Now I'm going to do my 2 and 10 inch mark here. Just make sure everything's folded well. There, in the description of the post is the host code to use for if you want to place an order. Grab my paper snips here. So make sure you click on that link, and that'll take you. You won't have to do anything else. It'll automatically link you to that host code. So that is totally good. Okay, so now we have. You'll see the paper folds here, and you've got this little strip here that's a 1/2 inch. And down here at the bottom, so it doesn't matter because this paper doesn't have any directionality. So it doesn't matter which end is up because it's 2 inches on either end, so it's even. So just decide, okay, this is going to be my top, this is going to be my bottom. And so I've got this 1/2 inch strip here. Down here, there's this little rectangle. And so we just want to get rid of that little rectangle down here. So I'm going to take my paper snips, and you may not be able to see it, but I can see the score lines. And I'm just going to kind of come in at an angle and taper that just a little bit. And then I'm just going to come right up that score line and trim. So I've just taken out that little rectangle. There we go. Okay, so that's what's left. And you can just toss that. Okay, so now we know that this is the bottom. So now we're just going to come up and cut on these 4 score lines. And there's kind of a little ridge there, so you can just follow that line. Because of the pattern of this paper, it probably doesn't show up very well on the camera. Now, the thing about boxes and bags is you just have to make a few to get comfortable doing it. Once you've done it a few times, things like this, you'll know that you do this almost every time you do a box or bag, so that'll just become second nature. I'm also just going to come up here and just do a little angle trim and just take that bulk out right there. And get that out of the way. All right, so now it's time to put it together. So I'm going to fold over this 1/2 inch piece because this is where I'm going to put my adhesive. And you'll see if you fold it in half, it just folds perfectly over that. So that's how I'm going to do it. So I'm going to put my adhesive down. Now I'm just doing snail, but if you're going to put something heavy in this bag, you might use our new Seal Plus or tear and tape. It's a little bit sturdier. just for demonstration purposes, and what I'm putting in here is not super heavy, so I think it's going to be okay. So there we go. Now it's flat, and then if you just do like this, it pops up, and there's our box. Okay, now we're going to kind of keep an eye out where that seam is. So my seam is right here. So this, I want this to be the back of my bag. And so now I've got these flaps here. So if this is the back of the bag, then I'm going to put my sides in first. Okay. And then I'm going to fold this down, and so that way this top layer is pointing towards the back of my bag. All right, does that make sense? Hey, Anna Davenport, good to see you. Okay, hopefully that makes sense. So now what I'm going to do, I'm only going to have to put adhesive on this piece and this piece. So I'm going to turn it over and get that piece first, because that's going to be the first one that I put down. And then I'll put some adhesive here, because this is the last piece. So again, this is the back of my bag. And so I just kind of make sure that this is squared up as best I can, and then I'll fold that flap over and press. Now I'm going to go in with my bone folder and reach down in here and give it a good press to make sure that I get that sealed up. Okay, and so there's our bag. Now I can look again. This is pointing to the back, so I know this is the back of my bag. And now you've got this score line that's up here. And so now you can just kind of pinch, and then you've got this. Okay, and we're going to decorate it here just a second, but let me show you what I'm going to put in here, because this is a pretty good sized little bag, so you could get some good things in. I'm going to put in some Bath and Body Works. So I've got these little things here to give, and so these will all go in. All right, see there? They fit perfectly. Okay, so now we can just pinch this, and I have a little trick to help hold things together for me while I don't want to press this down too much, because I like that little, I like it where it's a little puffy, I guess is the word. That may not be the word. I'm going to come in with our silver edge ribbon here. Let me lay it down. But I just use one of those little bulldog clips to hold it in place. And then once I get this tied, I can pop that off. All right. It's always a bad idea to tie ribbon while people are watching, but I think it's going to work. There we go. So I always have to sit and fiddle with them a little bit until I get it just right. That loop is twisted a little bit, but I'm not gonna worry about it. And sometimes if it just wants to do that, then you just kind of let it do that. But yeah, it's gonna lay better. Just kind of let it tell you what to do, basically. All right, so we got that little ribbon. I'm not gonna trim my tails yet, but now I can take my bulldog clip off. And so you'll see that I've still got this little kind of puffy there. Now on this one, I pinched that down pretty flat. So you can do either way, however you like it. But so that's just kind of two different looks for the same thing. Okay, now I love this paper. All right, so now I'm going to make just a cute, quick little tag. And I'm going to use the Oval Occasions stamp set from the mini catalog, and I'm going to use this little happy birthday here. And the cool thing about this is it coordinates with this punch. So I can stamp my happy birthday, punch it out with this, and then I'm going to stamp out a little piece to layer with that part. So a couple tricks for that. Now I've already got my stamp on here mounted, and I'm going to use Night of Navy. And I have just a little scrap. Now, I don't want to do a great big piece of paper, because when I punch out of this bottom, this is going to punch up here too. And so I don't need that up there, so I'm just going to use a scrap to punch that. If I were to do this, you'd see how much I'm going to ruin a whole bunch of paper, and I use all my scraps that I possibly can. So I'm just going to ink this up. And then I always punch upside down so I can see where my punch is going. And the good thing about this is it doesn't matter if you stamp it crooked because you just twist it around until it's straight in the punch. Now the other thing I'm going to do is make sure that my hands are out of the way. And there you go. There's our little happy birthday. And now I still have a decent sized piece of scrap. And that I could get another punch out of that. So, gotta be frugal. Now I've got a piece of silver foil that I'm just going to come in and punch here. There we go. And then I'm done. The cool thing also, if you haven't seen our punches before, it has this little locking mechanism. So when you're using it, it's punched out. When you're ready to put it away, you just press down and then lock. And now it's going to store flat. So that's a super cool feature if you haven't seen those before. Close up my ink pad. Okay, and so now I'm just going to layer this little piece here, and I've already done that. So I've got a little tag here that I layered, and then I added 2 rhinestones. I know you're shocked, totally shocked. Now there's a couple ways you could do this. You could just, and I think this is probably what I'm going to do because I'm just going to keep this simple. You could also punch a hole up here and then tie this and have it dangle. But I think I really just like having this right here, just past where it kind of bends. Super simple. It's not anything fancy and outrageous because I do have someone in mind that I'm giving it to. And this fits them very well. So I try to think about that. Hey, Sharon, hope you're having a good time. All right. And so just going to put that right there. And there we go. Got a cute little gift bag. I've got some Bath & Body treats in here. And then once I get it all done, I will kind of play with my bow and see which way I want it to go. So once I get it, then I can come in here and trim these tails. There we go. Let me know what you think. I love this little bag. Again, so you've got about 8 inches in height right here. And then you've got almost 3 inches square on the bottom. And this paper you can get for free with Celebration. Tonight is the last night for Celebration. So $50 order, you can get this paper, the whole pack of it. And it's really beautiful paper. So just wanted to share this little project with you. Again, this was my sample, and I really do not like this paper, but that's why I use it. And that to me is great. I love that we have some paper that I don't always like because I don't feel bad about using it to practice. So that's what I do. That's just some of my little tips and tricks for you. And that's it. I just wanted to do this really quickly and share that with you. Again, the link is up in the post for the host code. So all you have to do is click on that link. You don't have to worry about entering the host code. It'll automatically be there for you. I am working on a goal, and I just need a couple more orders to get there. So if you are thinking about placing an order, it would be great and I would appreciate it. And I will be back on Wednesday for Wow Stampin' Wednesday, and going to have some fun techniques for you then. But other than that, I hope you guys have a good Sunday evening. I hope you've gotten some good rest this weekend, and I will look forward to seeing you on Wednesday. Thanks.